Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of the OutLoud Culture Podcast. This week is part one of two podcasts where we'll be talking about Deadpool. The week after next, we're going to be actually discussing the movie. But this week, I guess we're just going to be talking about the character.
Yep, hey everyone, I'm Alex Trevini. I'm happy to be here, and what else is there to talk about? No, seriously, what else is there to talk about? There was literally no news this weekend, and we were planning to talk about Deadpool anyways, but really nothing happened this weekend, so even if we didn't want to talk about it, we're stuck with talking about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds' previous performances.
Yeah, let's go over what happened this week. A bunch of stupid stuff happened that nobody cares about, and
Iowa
nothing.
caucus, that's Ted Cruz, Trump, Clinton, Sanders, everyone being idiots and going screaming over Iowa and New Hampshire. That's pretty much it.
We got this whole weird, we got the Twitter stuff, but, that's
I
not.
really don't care about that.
Well, Twitter is going to be replacing their, chronological sorting with an algorithm.
Yeah, that's dumb to me, but I really don't care that much because it's not like I go looking for what I wrote on that particular day, anyways.
Yeah, so, I would be definitely surprised if this podcast goes over an hour.
Yeah, there's like an hour and a half, maybe, but that's about it.
What
without
else?
further ado,
I was just gonna say, what else is going on this whole month, anyways? We talked about
Disney
game
movie
releases, but
with Chris Pine is in the Coast Guard movie, and then there's Natalie Portman's Western where she tries to kill Ewan McGregor or something.
okay,
That's about it.
So Queen Amidala is trying to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's new?
Yeah, that's about it. And well, since this is taking place in Bryan Singer's X-Men universe, we might as well talk about that.
We already kind of talked about it on the Marvel podcast when we said, well, actually, we've talked about it twice so far, because me and Zach talked about it on the end of the Supergirl podcast.
Okay. Well, Tim Miller is directing. He's a new guy. This is going to be his directorial debut. Reynolds is produced. They got Andrei Chikatilo motion capturing as Colossus and Stefan Kapicic voicing him. He's Eastern European, actually. He's not He's not Russian. He's Serbian, but okay, at least it's actually Eastern European and not an American putting on a ridiculous accent. Elizabeth Olsen.
Or even worse, not putting on an accent at all. Snake Eater.
Isn't that every Metal Gear game?
Nah, MGS2 had plenty of Russian voices in it.
Well, as soon as you have Fulton extract soldiers out of the field, you'll lose the Russian and African accents you'll find in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Wow. That is like the height of laziness. But then again, Konami isn't known for handling voice acting all that well.
Yeah, they all sound North American right after you Fulton extract them and put them on the base. Like, we're gonna kidnap a bunch of soldiers and put them on an oil rig in the middle of nowhere, even though they might possibly hate each other and want to kill each other. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? Sure, the previous one got blown up and anything in the last game.
Oh, and we totally aren't going to look into the future and see that the Sons of Liberty tried to do this in MGS2 and failed.
And we know about what happened in MGS2, and we know about that event that happens in the future, even though it hasn't taken place yet, and most of those characters don't exist, because I, too, have played all the previous Metal Gear games. And seriously, they make an oil rig right after, and Fulton extract a bunch of random soldiers, put them on there, right after the previous mother base in the Caribbean got blown up, because logic does not exist in the world of Metal Gear. Yes, sensei!
Except that it used to, except that MGS5 was rushed to completion, but,
I know the series is meant to be silly, but regardless of that, let's just get back to Deadpool.
Okay, so the Deadpool movie has been in... technically the Deadpool movie hasn't been in development since 2004, but
Yeah, this
There
current one
was
has.
a Deadpool movie in development at New Line.
Yeah, and that got screwed up. Now Fox is doing it, and Reynolds might actually do a good job. I think.
Well, he was.
Actually, some of his.
I was gonna say he was good as Deadpool in Origins, but
For the half of the movie where he was Deadpool before they got Scott Adkins to play that thing that's supposed to be Deadpool.
to
Now,
play
I'll
to play not Baraka.
now I'll admit right now I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Deadpool. I do appreciate his humor, the fourth wall breaking and everything. I do like it. It's fun, but there are times where he can be annoying, and I'm not exactly the biggest Deadpool fan out there. I do enjoy him occasionally though.
So, what was your first experience with the character?
I think it was actually a Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You
Yeah,
know those video games.
yeah, I've got
They were
those.
fun.
I didn't play. I haven't played them though. Actually no. I've
They're
only
fun.
got one Ultimate Alliance game.
The first or the second.
The first for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, had mine for the 360. It was a lot of fun, and Deadpool was kind of fun there. And then I read some of his comics. He's fun when you're. He's fun occasionally, but he does. There's some of his lines get annoying at times, and I'm glad Ryan Reynolds is not making his voice too squeaky like a lot of voice actors have.
Did you ever play the Deadpool video game?
No, I didn't. It just didn't interest me. I just
Mm.
saw like footage shots of it. It looked like one of those hack and slash things, and it just recycled everything over and over again. And that it just seemed kind of boring to me.
Yeah, my first direct experience with Deadpool was the Wolverine movie, the first one. But I think I actually, because I was reading a whole bunch of Marvel comics before then, I think I might have picked one up with Deadpool in it at one point, but I didn't really understand what was going on. Because I think I was like
Yeah,
3 years old at the time.
I didn't even know that was Deadpool. I thought it was a different character from Wolverine's lore. It's called Cyber because Cyber is this guy with these metal arms and these two long 3 meter long adamantium claws in each arm. So I saw that in him, and I figured that was it. I didn't realize it was Deadpool though.
Huh.
And the merc with a mouth gets his mouth sewn shut. Well, that's
Yeah, that was kind of stupid. That was like the one thing that I thought was kind of weird, but then again, you know,
Origins
it
is
did
still a
sort of
bad
make
movie.
sense. It did sort of make sense because they were trying to, Wolverine said, "Well, they finally managed to get you to shut up."
Yeah, and I didn't get that joke because I didn't realize that was the same guy who sliced bullets in half back in that mission in Africa.
Oh yeah, I mean, because he wasn't Deadpool.
Yeah. Okay, people are dead. Really? Were they bloodless people?
Oh yeah, because PG-13.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is taking place in the same universe as Bryan Singer's X-Men. We're not sure exactly when. It looks modern day, but it might be in the 70s or the 80s because X-Men Apocalypse is taking place in the 80s.
Okay,
So
based on
that's a factor.
considering that, uh, let's see, Origins takes place in the 90s, and
80s.
considering
And
80s,
Origins has been wiped from the continuity. They've acted as if that film has never existed ever since before making First Class. So they did that. X-Men 3 has been wiped. The events of X-Men 3, they did happen. Now they're wiped from the continuity thanks to Days of Future Past. X-Men 2 is now also their events have been wiped because Jean Grey is still around. X-Men 1, it might have happened. It might not have happened, depending on the different origins because, again, they still got the old cast back for Days of Future Past.
well, I was gonna say though, because okay, the past version of Days of Future Past took place in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
I really could have sworn that Wolverine took place at least in the early 90s.
What? No, it was
That Origins, I mean.
Well, Origins, it was either the late 70s or the early 80s.
How do you figure that?
Well, I don't remember much of that movie because no one wants to remember it. But something about they said something about like the time period because it was like after
Oh,
Vietnam
whoa,
when they
whoa,
were in
whoa,
prison.
whoa! Hang on. 3 Mile Island.
What?
3 Mile Island. Remember?
Oh
So
yeah,
it.
that thing. Like it because like
Okay, so it takes
after
place
that
whenever.
little montage, after that little montage where Wolverine and Sabretooth, I was gonna say, like where they had the little war, they get imprisoned after Vietnam. It's a few years later only.
Okay, so it happened in
So
the late 70s. Origins happens in the
yeah,
late 70s, but then Days of Future
but it doesn't
Past
matter
wiped
because
it from the continuity.
yeah, but it doesn't matter because X Men Origins never existed. They acted that way even before they made First Class.
I don't know. It could still technically
Hugh Jackman.
work in
By the way,
first.
Hugh Jackman himself says he dislikes the movie.
Okay, hang on. I've got a timing thing going on here that I gotta deal with. So, hold on. Okay. The guy just messaged me. Said there's a change of plans and he'll be there about 3:30. Oh, okay. Okay.
Something about a person you're meeting, pal?
Hang on. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, yeah, I had something I had to deal with.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Anyways, Hugh Jackman himself says he dislikes X Men Origins.
Well, there is quite a bit that was definitely done wrong with it because they.
Like the cartoon claws, the CGI on the claws, it looks somehow worse than the first X Men movie, which was almost a decade before.
That was something that kind of stuck out to me, a whole lot because
Shoot Wolverine in the
they.
head. He gets shot in the head. He's alive. Damn it! I thought for sure they would work on the guy who's been taking bullets the entire movie.
They weren't trying to kill him, you know. They were just trying to
Zero
pierce his
was.
skull.
Zero was, remember?
Oh yeah.
And besides, even if they weren't trying to kill him, you really think a few bullets are going to slow down Wolverine? And, well, shooting him didn't work. Let's shoot him again with this machine gun on this helicopter. Even though it obviously doesn't work. Also, not that it matters, but these are apparently the most expert marksmen in the world, and they can't land one shot on Wolverine. And also, they don't do one simple thing: shoot a missile.
Because this is a PG-13 movie.
Yeah. Anyways, so.
Oh
Reynolds,
yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the poster for Origins here, and they definitely added those claws in post because, I mean, he's definitely holding. Actually, hang on.
Well, Hugh Jackman looks like he's posing for it, but
I mean, it looks like he's holding his fist up there, sort of, but the claws themselves don't even look like they were part of the shot originally because the lighting is all off. Because the lighting on the claws is coming from the front and the top, whereas the lighting on Wolverine is coming from the left and side, from the middle left. So,
I mean, it looks worse than the first X-Men movie that took place in 2000, and Origins came out in 2009.
mm-hmm.
So
I think the very
let's talk
the
about
very
Reynolds.
real issue with Origins was that it was PG-13. Because it didn't.
It had a bad plot, but let's just get back to Reynolds.
I was just gonna say this. It had a good idea, but if it hadn't been forced to cut down so much of the critical elements of Wolverine, then they probably would have just. They probably would have wound up with an R rating, even if they had toned it down quite a bit. Excuse me.
And because blood. It's red blood. We must rate this R. Oh, green blood and green blood. It's okay. It's okay. Kitty stuff. That's the NPAA for you. I mean, like, they do that in animation all the time.
I mean, let's say this here. Say that, for instance,
What?
I was just gonna say, hey, say for instance you cut somebody in half with a giant axe. If it's a human being, then
It's
it bleeds all over her, then it's gonna be an R rating. But if it's a robot,
some random alien and it has green goo coming out of it, kiddie stuff.
but if it's a robot that just explodes, even if that robot had like feelings,
or an animal inside or something like that.
well, I'm talking about something specific here.
Oh,
Here,
yeah.
even if that robot was literally all but human, then that's still less than cutting a human in half. So, even though it amounts to the same thing.
Basically, yeah. And it's just annoying.
So, what did you
Okay,
think of? I was just gonna
let's
ask
talk
you
about
what did.
Reynolds.
Well, I'm trying to fill an hour here, so I was just gonna ask you what did you think of?
Yeah, I got stuff to fill in an hour about Reynolds.
I was just
So
gonna ask you what you thought of Will I Am as Nightcrawler's dad.
I'm not sure that would work out.
No, Will I Am played Nightcrawler's dad in Origins.
Oh, that. He was where he was playing Wraith. That's an actual character. He's not Nightcrawler's dad, I don't think.
Oh,
And Will I Am, he's better as a singer than as an actor.
see,
And it,
I sort of thought the opposite. I thought that he was better or as an actor than a singer because his whatever genius he once has sort of faded.
maybe I still enjoy some of his older songs, and I did enjoy that collaboration he did with the Script Hall of Fame. You ever hear that one?
No, but I've heard good things, so.
It's a really good song, and his performance in that is good. But I just want to talk about Reynolds and some of his previous performances. Like the one for one of the things I think I can find influences for here is for his Deadpool performance. I can already see it. It's the Amityville Horror remake, based on the true story. Yeah, more like based on the true hoax. Am I right?
Yeah. The
Okay,
whole.
I'll compromise. I'll just say based on the true book. Doesn't make it any less fake though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's from Long Island. She's actually been to Amityville. She hasn't seen the house itself. Like she hasn't been inside the house, but she has seen it.
Yeah, the only
And
thing I've ever heard about that is that it's basically just
it's a myth.
a
It
hoax.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the remake, it starts off with the only thing we know for sure that happened, the DeFeo murders. The murders of the Robert DeFeo murdering his whole family there. But then a little girl shows up. Robert, what are you doing? I love you, Jody. Boom! Yeah, here's the problem with that. Jody DeFeo never existed. Already the fiction has begun, and that was supposed to be documenting a real event.
So who does Reynolds play in that movie?
He plays George Lutz, the father of the family that moves in.
Mm.
And Melissa George plays his wife, and he's got two random kids playing his kids there that are in the actual story. So they move into the house. The whole time it's actually kind of funny though, because the house saleswoman, she's acting like, oh, it's a really nice house. Yeah, nothing bad happened here. Just a family got murdered. Buy the house! Buy the house! Buy the house! And Ghost, could you hold back for a moment? I'm trying to sell this house. Please don't kill anyone yet.
Mm.
Then when George and Reynolds discuss it, Melissa George and Ryan Reynolds discuss getting the house, they scream, ah! Oh, are you guys done yet? Oh, you're buying the house. Nice. So just let me know when you're gonna. Just let me know when I can sell it again. So they move in. And random stuff happens. Reynolds is funny throughout this movie because he goes all anger crazy improv, and it's kind of funny to watch when he goes crazy and angry in this.
Mm.
And just waking up in the middle of the night. Ah, come That damn dog messing around in the boathouse. I'm gonna teach him a lesson with my axe. Oh, after I kill this random image of random monster appearing in my head. Oh wait, that was the dog. Oh no. Yeah,
So
the real life
so that's
George Lutz actually hated that scene, and it's one of the reasons he tried to sue the filmmakers over it. Why is that? Well, in the original movie with James Brolin playing Lutz, the ending of the movie specifically shows Lutz going back in the house to save the dog. Kind of different, just slightly different from chopping him up and murdering him into pieces. And then Reynolds goes even crazier when he finds a secret room in the basement. In the remake, it's a huge torture chamber. In the original, it's a glowing red brick room. So what is it in real life? A regular, not hidden at all room in the basement. And why is Lutz getting possessed? Apparently, the site of the house is the site of a Native American burial ground, except it isn't. Local historians, as well as Native American historians, have determined there was no Native American burial ground above the house. In fact, there were no Native American settlements in the entire area around present-day Amityville. So there's that. And apparently the spirits come around because of the Reverend John Ketchum, who practiced witchcraft and craziness and other stuff in
wait a minute. The Reverend John Ketchum.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. His last name is spelled like Ash Ketchum.
I was just gonna ask, is he Ash Ketchum's long lost father practicing the lost art of Pokemon summoning?
Yeah. Here's the issue, however. John Ketchum's existence has never been proven. It's not known if he actually did exist. And if he did exist as a real person, it's highly unlikely he would practice witchcraft. So he sliced his own throat to make sure his spirit and his followers would live forever. Chopping his own throat. Huh. Wait a minute. That seems like a stupid idea.
You think?
Yeah. And then there's the priest. That's one of the most disputed aspects of the story because the priest's account of what happened kept changing over time. At first, he said he never even went into the house and was bothered by supernatural bees. Flies acting like
locusts. Not the bees! Oh God, not the bees!
Flies. They kept acting like locusts in ancient Egypt, telling him, "Get out!" in this movie. But as I said, his account kept changing over the years. At first, he said he never even went into the house and was bothered by any supernatural flies. So later on, we see Reynolds has finally been fully possessed. And
wait a minute, I was just going to say, does this... Are you getting the Shining vibe from that?
Kind of. It's kind of like The Shining, but except it's not as good as Kubrick's version. But here's the thing.
Here's Johnny! Because I was just thinking, because his whole Ryan Reynolds' performance in that sounds like it was very similar to Jack Nicholson's in The Shining.
Yeah, he is kind of trying to rip off Jack Nicholson.
With all the improv and stuff.
Yeah, and he is kind of going crazy, but here's the thing. The original possession and the possession in the original never took Lutz this far as going to... He never went as far as trying to murder his own family in the original. And that's another thing about both these movies. They emphasize how the killer and the main character, George Lutz, they're always like similar. The original made an even bigger deal about this with the picture of Robert DeFeo in the newspaper actually being of James Brolin. And so Reynolds gets an axe. All I can think of when I'm watching that whole sequence is Homer Simpson. Must kill family, urge to kill rising. And apparently they're saved because the ghost of the little girl, Jodie DeFeo, who does not exist in real life, is helping them out. And they escape the house, never to return. Urge to kill. Fading. Rising. Fading. Yeah. Like, the original one is more accurate to the book about the whole Amityville horror thing, so it's interesting in that regard. But as far as entertainment value goes, I think the remake is better, but it's not like they're good movies anyway. Reynolds was kind of funny watching Reynolds go crazy, though.
So, apparently Ryan Reynolds, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Origins here. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds did actually trained to perform with the swords in that movie, and he wanted to do all the stunts because he got in shape for the Deadpool version, for not just the Wade Wilson version, but also the Deadpool scenes. But they got Scott Adkins
Yeah.
in to do
And
the rest of the stunt work and most of the other shots. Because I'm just gonna look up Scott Adkins here, see if he looks anything like Ryan Reynolds at all. Because I can't remember Origins entirely. While we're waiting on that, I just want to ask you your opinion on the Ryan Reynolds is playing Deadpool in Blade Trinity theory.
well, I haven't seen Blade Trinity, so I can't comment on that. But apparently, people think he is. Some people think he isn't.
Ryan Reynolds actually came out and said that he was playing Deadpool in Blade Trinity.
Okay, well, I guess there's some credibility to that. But CinemaSins, when he said X-Men Origins, he in one scene when Ryan Reynolds is on the plane shining his sword, he said, quote, "I'm having Blade Trinity flashbacks," and he didn't even use a sword in that movie. So, let's see.
The reason why I brought that up is because
his character in Blade Trinity was Hannibal King.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that the Hannibal King that he played was more like Deadpool than it was Hannibal King. Because because the actual character is actually he much more
serious.
Yeah, and and the character that was in the movie was like, basically Deadpool.
Huh. Well,
because he was joking around and stuff and not being serious, and other characters didn't really take him seriously either. So, but the actual original role of Hannibal King appears to have been replaced in Blade Trinity, was replaced by somebody named Abigail Whistler, who was an original character created for the movie.
Well, there was Ryan Reynolds was also in that Green Lantern movie. What'd you think of that?
Still haven't seen it. Still probably don't plan to.
Don't bother. DC's acting like it never existed anyways. And look, Reynolds was not the issue with it.
Absolutely not. He was like, the very little that was... I mean, he's the only reason they got the Lantern Oath right. The very little bits that were actually good about the movie are basically all Reynolds doing.
There was every part of the movie was boring, really, honestly. But I'll give it credit. It had a better villain fight scene than the recent Fantastic Four movie did.
Stop calling it Fantastic Four. It's Fant Four Stick.
Fant Four Stick, my mistake. Fant Four Stick. Anyways, it had there. I mean, sure, yeah. At the end result, he really just punched. Reynolds did just punch the big bad guy in the face, throwing him into the sun. Even though he wiped out a bunch of the best Green Lanterns in the world, and he bring Green Lanterns in the galaxy in 5 seconds. Even though and Reynolds is still a rookie at this point, but at least there's more leading up to it, and more Reynolds does before punching him in the face, whereas the Van Forstick goes straight to go immediately get their asses kicked and then punch him in the face.
Yeah, go straight from ass kick to clobbering time.
Yeah, even though it's clobbering time has a dark backstory in this, where Ben's abusive older brother would beat him up when say it's clobbering time. Why even give it's clobbering time a backstory? That's right. All it's meant to be is a cheesy little line that Stan Lee came up with because he thought it would be because he thought it was kind of funny. Just leave it at that.
And if it has to, then he should say that to the person who was beating him up, which would mean that Dr. Doom would have had to have been his childhood bully.
Yeah, that's much better that way. The first Fantastic Four movie, when I say first Fantastic Four, I mean the Tim Story one with Michael Chiklis as the Thing. It's better for its clobbering time because At first, he hears it as part of some stupid action figure. He hates it for screwing it up like that. Then he hates it for daring to suggest he would say something stupid like that. But then he takes it on as something he thinks he could use to get payback at Doom. Then he shows up at Doom. No, Vic, it's clobber time. Then he punches him in the face. I like that. That's good.
Oh, and the good thing was that guy actually looked like the Thing.
Oh, but his costume was ridiculous, guys. It's a superhero team about a guy who stretches, a woman who turns invisible, a guy with rocks for skin, and a guy who turns into fire. Are you really saying Fantastic Four is not meant to be silly?
Yeah.
So, anyways, Reynolds is now in this thing. We can't allow this, Deadpool. I don't have time for your X-Men bullshit, Colossus. Besides, no one's getting hurt. Ah!
That guy was there when I came here.
Wait! You might be wondering why the red suit. Well, that's so bad guys can't see me bleed.
That guy had the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
Right idea. He wore the brown pants. And Dopanda, Pool, dead. Why the red suit, Mr. Pool? You see, it's Christmas Day, Dopanda, and I'm up to someone on my naughty list. You think this is a superhero movie, but that guy just turned that other guy into a fucking kebab. Surprise! This is a different kind of superhero movie. To tell it right, we gotta go back to before I stretched this ass in spandex. It's exactly what Deadpool's supposed to be, if my knowledge of the character is up to date.
And it's R-rated, so that we're not gonna be putting up with any of this stupid restrictions that Fox put on Wolverine.
Yeah. Just don't make the super suit green animated.
Yep.
Like, I'm serious.
When the first trailer dropped, it was all serious up till that point. Then it was like, oh yeah, brother.
Yep. And the Deadpool, actually, the Green Lantern suit, it was all CGI. Even the little mask was CGI.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Of all the things to CGI in this movie, a mask. I guess the idea was because his costume is all a projection from that ring. Then I guess that was the idea behind it. But it just looks stupid when you put it on the screen. It's better when it's an animation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and another thing. Why a domino mask?
Well, they do that. Well, that's what Hal Jordan had in the.
But domino masks don't actually work to conceal your identity. It's like, you know,
unless you have a bunch of grease paint and a hood over you, arrow, then it doesn't really work.
Yeah, you have to be obscuring other parts of you, not just your eyes, because.
Except the chin, though, because that chin is sexy.
I mean, if it was a full head helmet and a voice changer, then I can see why it. Because the ring can potentially change voices, because it translates. So.
Well, yeah, there is that, and so it's a simple story what they got going for Deadpool. Guy's got cancer. He wants something that cures his cancer. He gets embarrassed and his girlfriend gets kidnapped. It's a simple story, but it's fine because it's at the end of the day it's going to be like an R-rated comedy film. So that's pretty much what Deadpool is.
Is a love story.
A love story that's actually enjoying to watch. And they got Colossus and Angel Dust. And Gina Carano's in this movie. That's the only negative gripe I have with it. Why? Why is Gina Carano here? She cannot act.
Who?
She was in Fast and Furious. She was in the Fast and Furious 6 movie where she was like...
Okay, that explains it, because I haven't seen any
She was Dwayne Johnson. She was Dwayne Johnson's partner in the movie. Then turns out she's working for the bad guys. And she's an MMA wrestler or something like that. I forget which one it was. But she cannot act. Johnson and Dave Bautista are the only people from that thing who can act. And Carano cannot. And before you ask, no, Miss Carano, I don't think I would say that to your face. Because she'd easily beat us up. But she really is the worst actress in that movie. And that's saying a lot. So anyways, if she doesn't speak at all and is simply hired muscle, as they're implying she is, then it might work. Whoa, you are way too much dude for me. That's why I bought him.
That's why I brought
that's why I bought her. Oh, no, it's okay. Just finish your tweet. Hashtag it and everything. Go get her, girl.
Yep.
Oh, I so pity
I
these
don't
dudes
think
in the
people
Christmas
actually
Christmas
came to
film
hear us
sucks.
quote the trailer, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's still funny. Anyways,
Yeah,
I think it
I
might
was
turn
just
out to be a
kind of,
solid movie. It
I
might
was
turn
just
out to be
kind
a
of
funny,
annoyed that
entertaining action film.
Daniel Cudmore didn't come back to be Colossus because he
Well,
was,
he was offered the opportunity, but he turned it down.
yeah, but he was in X2, he was in The Last Stand, he was in Days of Future Past,
Yeah, like I'm just wondering why he turned it down in the first place.
and then they
Cudmore's
got,
a good actor. Cudmore's a pretty decent actor
yeah,
too.
and then they got like 3 people playing him.
They got Andre Tricato, who's the motion capture guy, and they got Stefan Kapicic saying the actual lines.
Didn't they also get somebody else in for some last minute mocap though?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mm.
Anyways, so
So what do you think of
it
Deadpool
looks like
2099?
actually, it's that the one where he's got like Samuel L. Jackson's Jerry curls that turns him into the Venom symbiote or something.
No, Deadpool 2099 is like, okay, in 2099 Deadpool is still around, but there's a not a straight up lady pool, but a Deadpool, sort of like a female Deadpool
Oh,
as
that
well.
the Deadpool family thing where he's got like the female Deadpool, the Deadpool dog and baby, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well,
Is that what?
I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about Deadpool 2099. Hang on.
Well, I never cared much for Deadpool as must be this character. As long as the character is crazy and insane, then it's fine with me.
Okay.
Besides, besides, it kind of works with those multiple versions, really, because there's different levels of insanity.
Yeah, hang on. Okay, yeah, there's going to be a character. There's actually going to be a Deadpool 2099 that's going to be debuting in Deadpool's ongoing series.
Huh.
Like
Well,
a female Deadpool from the future, but he's still around in that future because, well, he's Deadpool.
Yeah, and I haven't read much of the Deadpool comics recently or any Marvel comics. There's actually this one funny word bubble, and from a Deadpool comic, he said, "Why is he crazy?" Someone asked why you're crazy. He pulls off his mask. If you had a face that looked like Ryan Reynolds mixed with some decayed fruit, then you'd be crazy too. And ironically, Ryan Reynolds is playing him now. No, you look like you fucked the topographical map of Utah. Thank you. He says thank you to that. So, well, Deadpool. So it's an action comedy film where the guy's got cancer. He gets superpowers. He's got to go save his girlfriend because Ed Skrein, who tries desperately hard to be Jason Statham, even though he's not really as good as an actor as Jason Statham, and save her.
So, have you read any of the old Deadpool comics?
Some of the older ones I have seen some of them. Yeah, like Bullseye. Bullseye says he's not going to kill Deadpool because he's too entertaining. Deadpool, how long has it been? And a few months ago since issue 37. What's up, Bullseye?
Yeah, because Deadpool was originally created because the character of Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, had become so incredibly, stupidly overpowered, and Deadpool was created as sort of a parody of that.
Yeah, and they both are immensely popular now, both Deadpool and Deathstroke.
Yeah, for 2 completely different reasons.
Yeah, Deathstroke is the overly serious guy. Deadpool is the overly crazy guy.
So did you read the... there was a Deadpool annual a while back where they brought back this this group of characters called Brute Force.
I've heard of that team. I heard they're planning to bring X-Force on as well, and Cable.
Okay,
Cable might make a cameo in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of Deadpool comic? Because there are a whole bunch.
Like, what do you mean specifically?
I mean, there are the Deadpool comics that are funny, and then there are the Deadpool comics that are way too serious. And then there are also Deadpool comics where it's like sort of a dramedy, and then there are other kinds where it's just sort of the
Well,
the crossover or kind of things where he
I
like
think
the
Deadpool's better
time
as
he vaporized some Smurfs.
I think Deadpool's better as comic relief, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, whenever they try and
I mean, there's when
yeah,
you make the
I was just
when you
looking
make
here.
the when
Whenever
you
they
make when you
hmm
make the comic relief the main character, it's usually not well. How do I know this? Planet Sheen is how I know.
Planet Sheen.
It's that spin-off of Jimmy Neutron. It was on Nickelodeon for a bit.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Nope, it was bad. And I mean bad, son. Actually, there was Deadpool has been in some animated stuff, like with the Wolverine Hulk versus like between Thor and Wolverine. When they got to Hulk versus Wolverine, Wolverine and Hulk get captured by Weapon X. Deadpool's in the team. Hey
hmm
Logan, buddy, it's me, Deadpool. I shot you.
Seems like
I'm alive. I'm alive. Then he gets stomped on by Hulk. Ow. Ow. He was funny in that.
I'm looking at all the yeah, wasn't he isn't the animated version of him played by Nolan North?
He was voiced by North in the video game,
And
and
in
I don't
the
think.
yeah, and he was voiced by North in most of the cartoons as well.
I think so. North is a really good voice actor.
Yeah.
Uh, so like, really, what else is there to talk about? Honestly,
Well, I know that Gwen Stacy appears to be the go-to for alternate versions of
characters.
for alternate versions of characters. And as such, we've got a character called Gwenpool.
Seriously,
Yes, where Gwen Stacy is actually when Gwen Stacy became Deadpool in an alternate universe.
why? What is her connection, anyways, to Deadpool? None. There is none.
Her connection to Deadpool is that her boyfriend teams up with Deadpool every now and again.
Even though she died before any of that happened. Interesting choice.
Yeah, she died before
Me.
Deadpool was even created.
Yeah, so it's she has zero connection. She has zip, nada, x9 yet. Anyways,
And the whole reason Gwen Stacy as Deadpool came around was because there were these variant covers where because this was based on the popularity of Spider-Gwen, where Gwen Stacy was reimagined as other Marvel characters. There's Doctor Strange, Groot, Wolverine, and one of them was Deadpool. And Gwenpool was featured on on a variant cover for Deadpool's Secret Wars #2, and
oh my
the
god.
character wasn't even featured in any comics until after it became a huge hit.
You can't see my face right now, but I'm pretty much impersonating Michael Douglas from Ant-Man right now. We are doomed. Oh my god. Like, I really have nothing else to say. Like,
Gwenpool is getting her own
Why?
ongoing series in April of this year too.
Oh my god, are you serious?
She also appears to be a recurring character in Howard the Duck.
This is stupider than putting Doc Ock's. That's something as dumb as putting Doc Ock's mind into Spider-Man's body. Oh wait.
Or perhaps Spider-Man making a deal with the devil. Oh wait.
Yeah, I mean, just let Aunt May die, okay? Just let Aunt May rest in peace. Let Spider-Man have an awesome. Let Spider-Man have a defining character moment, and let it stay a defining character moment. Let Aunt May die.
Or for that matter, making Jane Foster Thor.
Now, I don't have a problem with that. I could honestly see her doing something like that. But what makes her worthy to the hammer?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
I
And
don't mind Jane Foster being.
I
I don't
like the
mind Jane Foster becoming Norse god. I think that's a pretty good idea considering her connections to it. But taking Thor's power, what exactly it to her makes her worthy of Mjolnir?
I mean, Captain America can't even pick up the hammer.
No, he's picked up the hammer
Oh,
in the
yes.
comics. Yeah, in
Okay.
the comics, he's done it,
Yeah, I
and
couldn't.
The Hulk has as well.
Yeah. So the Ultimate Marvel version of Deadpool it sounds like oh, this is dumb. This is worse than
Oh yeah,
this is
the
worse
ultimate
than the
Deadpool. I remember him.
Ultimate
So
Deadpool is Sergeant
I know what
Waiting.
he is. I know he is.
I'm just reading this out for the audience here.
Okay.
Here, he is a cyborg, an anti-mutant extremist, Gulf War veteran, leader of the Reavers, hunting for mutants for sport on a reality show. Deadpool is a skull
Hosted
with
by
an exposed
Mojo.
brain. Skin is formed by a transparent Oh God!
Yeah, that's Deadpool for you. Like,
And this doesn't
he first
sound.
appeared in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic when Spidey was dating Kitty. And remember Mojo? He's this alien who hosts all those crazy reality shows. Well, that's Mojo here is a crazy anti-mutant activist who is a kingpin ripoff, basically. He's a discount kingpin. He really is.
I mean,
Mojo's
in
a discount
this,
kingpin with reality TV.
I mean, whoever wrote Ultimate Deadpool missed the point of Deadpool. This is basically just like a cyborg version of Deathstroke.
I mean, he does act crazy occasionally, but some more funny lines. Yo, Mr. Spider-Man, wakey wakey! Time to rise and shine and greet the day. Huh? Who are you? Now throw him overboard. Like, that is funny. That is Deadpool for you. But the rest of him is just badly trying to imitate Deathstroke.
Well, it was like how the not Ultimate Wolverine, but we already talked about Ultimate Wolverine a while back. It's like how Ultimate Magneto has lost all of his complexity.
Yeah, he's just straight up generic evil Darth Vader ripoff, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Except with none of the backstory that makes Darth Vader still have good in him.
Yeah.
Actually, about a funny thing, CinemaSins fan Forstick, hey, Darth Vader called. He wants to know how you're how you're more powerful than him, yet you could possibly get beaten up by 4 inept teenagers who barely raise a candle to you.
Yeah.
He'd say that about Doctor Doom in that. Doom in the Ultimates is not that bad, honestly.
Okay, so Deadpool 2099 is... Let me just read this out here. Warda Wilson and Deadpool's daughter.
Warda, that's her name?
Warda Wilson. They couldn't come up with a better name than that, apparently. I mean,
is that even a real word? They could just use a real name.
I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't have to sound like Wade. Just give her an actual female name.
I mean, look at the other guys from the 2099 series. They didn't make Spider-Man 2099 Piotr Parker or whatever.
Like, because he's the son of an American and an American man and a Russian woman. Because star-crossed lovers or some nonsense like that.
Yeah, it's like, they gave him a unique character. He was Miguel. Oh, I can't remember, but anyways.
Miguel O'Hara. That's his. Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah, Miguel O'Hara. And he was a unique character. Or he wasn't basically just trying to ape the original. And here, let me just go ahead and describe the rest of this. She collaborates with a gang.
He was actually a more serious... He was actually basically Peter Parker if he were a more serious type. He was a more serious Spider-Man. He was less jokey unlike Parker.
Yeah, because he had a more serious world to deal with. And the Marvel world is pretty serious.
Yeah, and O'Hara was a really good character.
Yeah, and so it's not like we could just use him. We had to create Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universe instead of of maybe he succeeding him with the guy that the
Already
guy from
exists.
the 2099 universe that already existed. I mean, I know it's
Well,
from
Morales
2099, but still.
Well, Morales is now popular because he is.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't know. I haven't read any comics with Morales, but if he really is just copying Parker, then that's just lazy.
I mean, I kind of get Miles Morales' character arc, but Miguel O'Hara was basically the successor to
Parker.
the direct successor to Peter Parker. Or yeah. I mean, he didn't get his powers the same way, but the two of them met. They were, I mean, during time travel arcs, they met. They were actually fairly good friends, and Peter basically said, you're carrying on my legacy. Good for you.
Then alternate timeline, there when Peter Parker and Mary Jane have a daughter, May Parker, who's Spider Girl, O'Hara is around the same age as May in that universe,
Yeah,
and he exists there. And I don't know, I forget what exactly his connection is to the Parker family, but there is a clear connection.
yeah. I mean, Marvel has just basically screwed the boat. I'm combining two
Well,
metaphors here. Here, missed the boat and screwed the pooch on this because
it's like they said,
I mean that's
well, we're out of creative ideas. Let's just make up some random names and do some random stuff because why the hell not?
yeah. But yeah, let's just keep reading this
Both
out.
Marvel and DC in the comics have been going bad. The animated movies and regular movies are pretty much the only place where you can find much good anymore.
And the TV series, don't forget that.
Oh yeah, the TV series, especially like Daredevil.
Daredevil,
That's my favorite.
Jessica
That's my
Jones,
favorite. That's
Arrow.
my favorite of the Marvel and DC TV shows. Daredevil.
Definitely Daredevil, yeah. Because I think Jessica Jones got weird towards the end because they forgot what they were trying to do.
Don't get me wrong. I think I know what they were going for, and it was handled well when she killed Kilgrave. Spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was handled well, but it did kind of lose focus in some areas. Like they kind of just, as soon as Will Travel got kidnapped by the Super Soldier ripoff company, they kind of just forgot about the whole thing immediately, and she doesn't even bother trying to look for him.
Yeah,
Even after he tried killing both her and Rachel Taylor.
Yeah, that was pretty. That plot point probably shouldn't have even have been included.
Yeah,
But
like
then,
they should have saved it for season 2 then, since clearly it has some connection to how Jessica got her powers. But I do hope they explore it more in season 2.
and probably some connection to how Captain America and the Hulk got their powers.
Well, the Hulk was a military thing that was totally different from this company, apparently.
I know, but everybody
And
was trying to recreate the super serum.
yeah, like the super soldier serum. I It would be interesting though. Since clearly there's a connection now, but there's an indirect connection now between Jones and Cap. I'd say have them team up eventually, or maybe after they inevitably kill Rogers and make Barnes Captain America, have Barnes and Jones work together on solving this whole thing.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty good.
Yeah, that could be a TV. That could be a season for Jones or a movie with Bucky as with Barnes as Captain America, and he could work with both Jones and Cage on finding out this whole thing, see if it had anything to do with what Hydra did to him.
You just reminded me of something. They actually explicitly stated in the original Spider-Man movie that
Oh yeah,
that they were
the
trying
Green
to
Goblin.
recreate the superhero serum, the super soldier
Yeah, the
serum.
Green Goblin thing. That was like before Marvel Studios even was on the ground. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Raimi,
that was a reason
thing
why
about
I said that they could potentially meld that with the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they actually said that they were trying to recreate a super soldier serum.
Yeah, the thing about those movies, Raimi liked to combine. He knew he couldn't use anyone else, and he didn't think that his movies could be combined with any other superheroes any time in the future. So he just decided to have fun with the whole concept and decided to make every other hero, like Marvel or DC, into have a loose connection in some way. Like Aunt May in one movie in Spider-Man 2, she says, "You're not Superman."
Okay, I'm just gonna keep reading out Deadpool 2099. And Warda Wilson. Okay, her mother is Shikla, whoever that is. She collaborates with a gang inspired by Hydra Agent Bob. Hydra Agent Bob, what the hell? And is wanted by
Oh
the
yeah, that
police.
character. Apparently,
Yeah.
he's like best buddies with Deadpool or something. Hydra
Mm.
Agent Bob. His name Bob because why not?
Yeah, she has an older an older Wade Wilson prisoner and forces him to watch political debates while chained up, angered that he's ruined her life and hopes she can use him to find her mother. Wade reveals that he and Shikla had a falling out after the death of Ellie, which led to a battle between the two former lovers in hell. This does not sound funny at all.
Actually, the political debate thing sounds funny.
I mean, that
that's
sounds funny, but
that's a
this.
perfect torture because I relate to that. Like every time I watch a political debate, I just cannot wait for it to be over. I can't stand it. I change the channel after 5 minutes. So that's funny to me.
Well, yeah, that definitely is funny, but I mean, the character of Deadpool 2099 does not
I'm
sound.
going to torture you. Oh, what are you gonna do? Slice me in half? Turn my insides? No. And he's chained up. I'm just imagining him. No, nothing but this. Anything but this. No more political debate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that sounds like the one token element of original Deadpool in this because it doesn't really sound. I mean, inspired by Hydra Agent Bob sounds funny, but other than that, it doesn't really.
I get it's a new character. I get it's a new iteration technically, but they should at least have some small connection to the original iteration.
Yeah, and not just have Wade chained up watching political debates all day.
Even though that is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so Deadpool's got his swords, got his guns, got everything he's ready for in the movie. He's got a few X-Men with him. He's gonna face off against Gina Carano. He's gonna face off against a bad Jason Statham imitator. I guess it works. I guess the movie's gonna be I expect it to be like a solid action comedy film.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one, and for that matter, it's the one decent release this time of year.
Basically, yeah. There's like it's not high on my list of anticipated releases, but I do consider it. But I do consider it much better anticipated than most of the other movies coming out this year. Like there are 4 movies I'm looking forward to this year, especially X-Men Apocalypse, Suicide Squad, Jason Bourne 5, and Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah, that basically comes down to it for me as well.
Yeah, like I might be the only person on the planet who's more excited for Suicide Squad than Batman vs Superman.
I always thought that was a dumb concept, anyways.
BVS.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's basically an extension of that Thor fighting Iron Man scene from the Avengers. We all know how it's going to turn out. Superman, and Batman. I hate you. I hate you too. You're a threat to the universe. You're a threat to the universe. Let's fight. Fight. Yeah. Fight. Hey, this is not good. Let's be best friends now. Okay.
I mean, is there any other way for it to come down? No. For it to go down? No.
And they're shoving in everyone they can. Just stop. It's too many. Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg. Then Doomsday. Really? And then and apparently Bizarro's here. Stop.
Why would
Stop
Bizarro be here?
characters.
He literally. I mean, this is going down the Supergirl route.
Stop with all these characters. This is literally Amazing Spider-Man 2 all over again.
It's worse. It's Supergirl.
No, Supergirl at least isn't having this many characters shoved down all at once before giving
Yes,
them
it does.
before giving them their own story. Wait, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Here we have. Bizarro Girl has been showing up in, or at least been mentioned at least every single episode since Maxwell Lord showed up. And Maxwell Lord is a secondary villain in almost every single episode. And in addition to the villain of the week, in addition to the villains of the week, plus the ongoing Kryptonian plot.
this is literally Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 all over again. Both this show
Even
and Batman vs Superman.
yeah, and get this, that's on top of all of the stupid interpersonal conflict as well.
Hate all you want, internet, but hate all you want, internet, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Batman vs Superman may become 2016's Terminator Genesis, the worst movie of the year. And I'm not hopeful for Civil War.
No, it
either.
might become from this year's Fant Four Stick. Because I don't
Okay,
think.
second worst. Second worst movie. Okay.
Yeah, because I think there are got to be other worse movies coming out this year than that,
BVS.
because than Batman versus Superman if it turns out bad, because
I still expect Civil War to do better because at least it's less predictable.
and at
Also,
least it's got less going on too.
Also, in that trailer for Batman vs Superman, thanks for showing me what I can only assume is 90% of the movie. Also, in Civil War, this world's Iron Man seems to make more sense for him to support registration than the comics Iron Man.
Yeah,
Considering his character.
Yeah, they actually.
I mean, first Stark opposed the government and all that, but then as you see with his mistakes causing such catastrophic events like Ultron and some other stuff back in Iron Man 2 and 3, his mistakes are causing these world events, so he may think it's necessary for him to be kept in check. So yeah, that's much better reason. Like Iron Man as a character, it actually seems like he would support this thing. Whereas in Civil War, who are the two most iconic characters in the Marvel Universe? Captain America and Iron Man? Brilliant! Let's have them fight in some convoluted war.
Technically, at that point, Iron Man wasn't even really that as iconic. Spider-Man was way more iconic than he was.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming out around the same time as the Iron Man movie, so I guess that was their way of marketing him, I guess. I mean, it would make more sense if Captain America was the leader of the anti-reg side. That much makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if Reed Richards were the guy leading the pro-reg side, because he's him being the government brainiac he would support this type of thing, Reed Richards, and he's supposed to be smarter than Stark.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Stark, he would not be openly for or against either side, but he would covertly support Cap. Maybe give him some spy tech or something like that. Not exactly going out being Iron Man, but he would give some covert spy tech to Cap or something.
Right. Okay, so we're looking here. I'm looking here at the release schedule here.
But Cap versus Mr. Fantastic doesn't sound as iconic as Cap versus Iron Man, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I know it is. I know it isn't, but it still makes more sense from a narrative perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that, because 50 Shades of Black just came out. I don't think that there's any way Batman versus Superman could be worse than that.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Or How to Be Single.
Well, 50 Shades was only number 4 on our list, so...
No, 50 Shades of Black.
No, 50 Shades of Grey, I'm talking about the actual one. So unless 50 Shades 2 were coming out this year, then I wouldn't put Batman vs Superman as a strong contender for number 1 right now.
Yeah, because I think the worst movie of the year is probably going to be coming out on the same day as Deadpool. It's going to be How to Be Single. That's going to be, because that's Rebel Wilson. So, I mean, this is a whole bunch of really weak stuff going up against Deadpool. We've got How to Be Single, Zoolander 2, and Tumbledown, which I haven't heard of.
Deadpool's probably going to be the only thing with a decent box office success, mostly because of his name recognition and because people think, oh, he's an X-Men guy, let's go watch this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he is X-Men technically, but he's not the way people are used to him.
We've got
used to the X-Men.
There's also 10 Clover Lane, The Brothers Grimsby,
Cloverfield Lane. That's the thing with like John. That's the thing with John Goodman and the other guys, right?
Yeah. Then we've got God's Not Dead 2, Amityville Reawakening.
There's another Amityville movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, for real?
Yeah. And then the Angry Birds movie.
I don't know which one. Which one do you think will be worse, Amityville or Angry Birds?
Angry Birds will probably just be incredibly lame. I think Amityville would turn out to be straight up bad.
Well, yeah, considering based on the true story.
Then there's
sure.
Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Okay,
Uh,
this movie, Amityville's got Bella Thorne, Cameron Monaghan. Oh, are you kidding me?
okay,
Are
then
you
we
kidding me? Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this movie. The
then
same
in
Jennifer Jason Leigh who is just in The Hateful Eight is in this Amityville Reawakening thing.
then in June we've got Independence Day Resurgence,
Basically,
Warcraft,
Independence Day 2. Which do you
The
think would be the
Conjuring
better
2.
popcorn action movie? Independence Day or Warcraft?
I think Warcraft would probably turn out to be better than ID4 2 because
My bet's
I
up
mean,
with that as well. Duncan
why
Jones
is
is a much better.
can I
Duncan
just
Jones is a much better director than Roland Emmerich.
can I just bring something up here? Why is Independence Day 2 not coming out on July 4th?
Because Roland Emmerich forgot the reason he made Independence Day 1 to cash in on July 4th and make some money.
Yeah. Then in July,
I mean, I didn't like the first movie that much, but it was a decent popcorn movie, I guess, if you've got time to kill. But Duncan Jones is a far better director than Roland Emmerich, so I got more bets for his Warcraft movie than the other stuff.
and besides, Warcraft has, Independence Day didn't need a sequel, and Warcraft has some really interesting lore behind it. So, okay,
Yeah.
so in July,
Also, Source Code. Source Code, that's a good movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan.
oh yeah, that was good. So we've got, in July we have.
Source Code is better than most Emmerich movies, and Emmerich has made like 20 different films. The only two films we can call of Emmerich's that are good in any way are The Patriot and Independence Day 1. And even there, I'm being generous towards Independence Day 1.
Hell, even then you could, if you're being generous, you can include Stargate as well because that was actually pretty good.
Well, I hate that because of the whole aliens created the pyramids. The Egyptians weren't that intelligent.
Okay,
Everything
so
happened
in
because
July,
it's kind of like MGS4's. Everything has happened because of nanobots.
okay, so in July we have The Purge 3, The Legend of Tarzan. That's on the 1st.
The only reason anyone will see The Legend of Tarzan is just to see Margot Robbie.
And then we have Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates and The Secret Life of Pets on the 8th. Then on the 15th we have that goddamn son of a bitch stupid reboot Ghostbusters movie coming up, and literally it's like,
Apparently
okay,
they got the original cast back.
okay, we've got, as far as Ghostbusters reboot guys go, we've got one guy who actually looks like who actually should be in this movie, and we have a whole bunch of unfunny female comedians.
Hang on, I gotta check something.
Okay.
Yes. I understand. I was gonna actually do that today.
Okay, thank you. I just had to double check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm back. Okay,
yeah.
so in the movie for Tarzan, there's Alexander Skarsgård. If that name sounds familiar, yes, he's the son of that Swedish professor guy from Thor. Margot Robbie is Jane Porter. Alexander Skarsgård is Tarzan.
Samuel L. Jackson is in it, so.
Yeah,
And
he's
John
got-
Hurt. So.
As a real character, George Washington Williams, an American Civil War veteran and historian. Christoph Waltz is in the movie as Captain Leon Rom, a corrupt who is a Belgian soldier in real life. Jimon Hansu is in it. Stop wasting Jimon Hansu, Hollywood. Guys, Hollywood, stop wasting Jimon Hansu. Ew. He's been used as token action bad guy in everything from Furious 7 to Guardians of the Galaxy to everything, really. The only time where he has been a real character has been in Amistad and Blood Diamond. And don't get me wrong, I did enjoy him in Guardians of the Galaxy, but give the guy some real roles. Give Jimon Hansu some real roles.
Yeah. Then for Ghostbusters, let's just read off the cast.
The director is David Yates.
I'm just going to go over to Ghostbusters here, because that was what we were on last. We've got Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, Kate McKinnon, Chris Hemsworth, Neil Casey, Andy Garcia, and Michael K. Williams. There are 2 names there that should potentially be in a Ghostbusters movie, and nobody else. There's Kristen Wiig and Chris Hemsworth.
I just don't think it's going to go that well in the first place because
The lead is
sequels
Melissa
to a
McCarthy. Of course it's
Well,
not going to go
also,
well.
Also, it's a sequel to a movie that came out decades ago, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, how often has that worked out well?
Yeah, I mean, Back to the Future 4 was great. Oh, wait, there is no Back to the Future 4. Because everyone who's made Back to the Future trilogy knows that it would be bad.
Actually, there was a Back to the Future 4.
There was?
Yeah, it was the video game.
Oh, the Telltale thing?
Yeah, that was the direct sequel.
Well, I haven't played it, but they haven't made the movie of it because this was their reasoning. How often do sequels to trilogies from years ago go well? They don't go well. He brought up Star Wars as an example, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the prequels didn't go well, but Star Wars Episode 7... I mean, Episode 7 is like a unique example. That was like the only time it's gone well.
Yep, from Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown. Quote, I would love to do Doc again, no question, but it's tough to come up with an idea that contains the excitement of the original 3. So it would be a real challenge for the writers to come up with an original Back to the Future story that has the same passion, intensity, and excitement as the other 3. But it could be done, you never know. End quote.
Okay, so other movies that are coming out that'll probably be bad, we have Ice Age Collision Course, which is like the 5th Ice Age movie they've ever made. I mean, the first 2 were good, I thought, but...
Oh, this is from Robert Zemeckis. Back to the Future 4 will never happen, and Robert Zemeckis says it's driving Universal, quote-unquote, insane. He keeps telling Universal it's not going to happen. They're constantly asking him to reboot Back to the Future 4.
Yeah.
He's just, quote, it's making them insane, and we don't want to do another Back to the Future, said Zemeckis, who earlier revealed that he and co-creator Bob Gale wouldn't let a sequel or remake happen within their lifetime.
Speaking of reboot, there's a Ben-Hur remake coming out this year.
Yeah, because Charlton Heston and Cecil B. DeMille are no... Charlton Heston is no way awesome, right?
Oh, yeah, because it's not like the original movie. It was good.
Movies ever made, right?
Or ever made, yeah.
Yeah, directed by William Wyler, a German-born American film director. Charlton Heston, Jack Hawkins, Stephen Boyd, Hugh Griffith, Haya Hararit, who is Israeli. Like, yeah, we got Ben-Hur, one of the greatest movies ever made, being remade into a modern-day remake. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Okay, we've got Tim Bekmambetov, however you pronounce that, on directing. John Ridley and Keith R. Clark, who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page on the writing duties. Then we have Jack Huston, Morgan Freeman, Toby Kebbell, Rodrigo Santoro, and Nazanin and Bonyadi in the movie. I mean, you know,
Timur Bekmambetov. He's Kazakh.
Okay.
He's from Kazakhstan.
So yeah, this is basically...
Jack Huston plays Judah Ben-Hur.
I mean, this
Morgan Freeman is Sheik Ilderim. Toby Kebbell, Masala. Yeah, I got nothing else. I've never heard of these guys.
I was just wondering, you know, how did they expect this to go well? Because the Conan remake didn't go well. They
probably don't. They just say, hey, Ben-Hur is popular. Let's remake it and make some cash. Oh yeah, it's Fast and Furious has put its influence everywhere else now. I just wonder though, like, do critics actually like the Fast and Furious movies, or are they just worried about being called out of touch old fools by the younger crowd?
Or were they?
And I'm 19, mind you.
Yeah, or were they worried about, you know, being called insensitive for not nominating Furious 7 for all those awards?
to the point where its Rotten Tomatoes score is 81%, and it's the most critically acclaimed episode in the series. And actually, CinemaSins did Furious 7, the part where the cars go through the buildings. You know what? I'm going to add 1,000 sins here. He had 1,000 sins for that scene. And look, the thing about Fast and Furious, I wouldn't mind it so much. Suspension of disbelief is not my issue. The movie thinking I'm stupid is my issue. There is literally no danger to anyone. Not the main characters, not the good guys, not the bad guys. Nobody dies in these movies. No one.
And the fact that
no one even gets a scar or injured because The Rock Dwayne Johnson is in a hospital in Furious 7, but he looks pretty sexy and fine to me.
Yeah. And then we've got I'm just looking down here. The Mechanic Resurrection. Good lord. Why would they call a movie that?
Oh, and Furious 7, you save the free world, what do they give you? Jello and a bad 70s TV show. Also, you're missing the gun. Do you not notice the big, huge 44 Magnum, as John Travolta would say, with a goddamn hand cannon? Also, that bad 70s TV show is the Lou Ferrigno, Bill Bixby, Incredible Hulk TV show.
Okay, yeah, that's out of line.
That's show rule, Vin Diesel. Shut your whore mouth.
I think he's just bitter that he wasn't approached to play the Hulk in the movie.
Maybe. But they specifically put the Incredible Hulk over the TV screen, and they showed us some of the old Lou Ferrigno being an Incredible Hulk there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there's a movie called Bad Moms. I mean, The Mechanic Resurrection. I can't get over this title.
Mechanic Resurrection, seriously?
Why call it Resurrection? Alien Resurrection at least made sense because there was some resurrecting going on in it. Okay. I mean, based on the title alone...
Here are the only 3 reasons to watch this movie. Jason Statham, Jessica Alba, and Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is amazing. Jason Statham does his awesome stunt. One of the hottest women on the planet.
Okay, The Mechanic is a sequel to... The Mechanic Resurrection is a sequel to The Mechanic from 5 years ago.
Huh.
Jesus.
Is it the same director? No, I don't...
Dennis Gansel.
No, this is a different director, actually.
Yeah.
This is a director.
I mean, with a title like that, it can't be good.
The Mechanic Resurrection. Kind of like Dragon Ball Evolution. I know next to nothing about Dragon Ball lore. I know nothing about stuff like who Goku or Vegeta or whoever is, and that movie was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Speaking of remakes, there's a Magnificent 7 remake coming out in September.
Well, the Magnificent 7 itself was a remake, but it was a better kind of remake. See, the original one was the Seven Samurai. What the remake did was they changed the setting from Samurai Imperial Japan to the American West, and they actually changed the story around and made new characters.
Oh,
and it was actually awesome.
There's a Deepwater Horizon movie coming out in.
It's got Mark Wahlberg and Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, John Malkovich. And
those are like the 3 only reasons to watch it because they're awesome actors. Russell, Wahlberg, and Malkovich.
Hang on.
You said that was filming around your neighborhood, I think, one time.
It wasn't this. Oh God, no. That was not this movie. Hang on.
Hello?
This was. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. That was not this movie. I wish to God that was this movie. We got some
Malkovich and Kate Hudson in it.
Yeah, we got some stupid, dumbass conspiracy theory, sci-fi horror bullshit movie about it.
Oh,
the plot is this
like Birdemic.
Yeah, it's like this rejected Resident Evil plot.
Or rejected Alfred Hitchcock plot, which was what Birdemic was, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So I wish that movie was the one.
I'm not worried about the birds. It's the human race that sickens me. The real monsters. I know, right? It was a bunch of humans that sat down and decided this movie was a good idea.
Yeah. Then we've got, let's see here. There's a Monster High movie coming out in October. Underworld Next Generation. Good lord.
Okay, I think we've just about said what we can about
Well,
this. I think it's
we're
time
almost
to end
done
this.
with the year here, so let's keep going.
Okay,
Boo.
there's
Boo.
Apocalypse, there's Star Wars, there's
No,
Suicide
I'm just
Squad.
listing off movies I think are going to be bad. There's Boo, a Medea Halloween. It's like, okay, the Medea movies are always worse than the plays, so, they're...
Huh.
Then we have Ouija 2. And we have Jack Reacher Never Go Back. And the first Jack Reacher movie was good. So, I mean, it was surprisingly good. So,
But I haven't watched it.
I'm looking forward
I'm not
to
a
it.
fan of either Tom Cruise or Jai Courtney, though.
Okay,
I mean, Tom Cruise is not a bad actor, but he's one of the most overrated actors I've ever seen in my life.
Jack Reacher is the original Jack Reacher is just watch that because you will be incredibly surprised by it. There's a
I'll
bad
give it a shot, but Tom Cruise, he's not a good person, and he's not that good of an actor either. Considering he gets compared to like the great people and Marlon Brando and Laurence Olivier and Judy Greer. Like, stop! He's not as good as any of them. He's not. He's not nearly as good as like Christian Bale or Jamon Hunsu.
I don't know. It's he's
mediocre to me. He's in between mediocre and decent to me. He's not bad, but he's not that good either. Just kind of weak.
Well, I was just gonna say he's had quite a few good movies, but then we've got Bad
He's a
Santa.
terrible person. And he's a terrible person if Insider reports are to be believed.
Well, Scientology, and I say that with absolutely no fear of being blacklisted by Scientology because I don't care about Scientology.
I wouldn't care at all if the way they treated their own followers wasn't the thing that disturbed me.
Yeah. Then there's
you
Bad
dare
Santa.
to insult Tom Cruise? Clean this toilet with your toothbrush and clean this floor with your tongue.
Yeah. Then we've got Bad Santa 2. Something called Let It Snow. In December is...
We're buffs. We need to milk this thing now as much as we can. Cause it's stupid. It doesn't matter that it's grating my ears.
And then in December is pretty much...
passions are we gonna have?
December is pretty much down to Rogue One, Assassin's Creed, and, well, that's basically it. Those are the two biggest things coming out that month.
Do you think Assassin's Creed's gonna be good?
I don't know, because Assassin's Creed plots are usually... I mean, when they branch out from the typical...
Assassin's good, Templar's evil, kill. Now, it's kind of why kind of controversial opinion incoming. I mean, prepare your earmuffs. I kind of liked Unity's plot. Boost! Hear me out. Is Unity a bad game? Yes. It's glitchy and beyond hell, but the plot I did like for delving deeper into the philosophy behind the Assassins and the Templars and realized there is some common ground between them and it's not all good versus evil. And they might actually agree on a lot of things if they could just get some tea, if they could just sit down, drink some tea without stabbing each other occasionally.
Well, yeah,
at this point now it's just he said this, she said this. Let's kill each other. Stabby.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that when Assassin's Creed deviates away from the typical Assassins, Boo Templars evil thing, it gets really good. But if it's just gonna be another, like Yahtzee Croshaw said in his review of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, if it's just gonna be another or one of those.
Well, here we are again. It's Assassin's Rule, Templar's Jewel. We must find an ancient mystical bullshit artifact.
Yeah. If it deviates away from that, it'll be good. But if they basically just make it National Treasure, but in the past again,
National Treasure with sci-fi and swords.
So do you think Ang Lee's new movie, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, is it going to be any good?
Well, Ang Lee's a good director, so I'm willing to give it a chance.
Yeah, Ang Lee seems to be the kind of guy. He's not like Shyamalan, where he started putting out a whole bunch of bad movies. He just
He
I
just
think
he just
just
got a
put
bad
out
rap when Hulk.
yeah, he just put out Hulk, and then that was terrible. But then I think he kind of made some good movies later on, and so
Yeah, the guy's a good director. All right, people, stop giving him crap over Hulk. That wasn't entirely his fault.
yeah. So
And I at least respect him for trying to do something unique with the visuals in that movie. So
yeah,
that's nice.
I was just gonna go over the production history of Deadpool earlier, but we got sidetracked. The
Well, there's really nothing to say about it. It's straight up action comedy with crazy guy in a red and black suit
well
with
the
swords and guns who
yeah, there
loves
is.
murder
Let
and
me
joke,
go ahead.
who loves murder and dark
Alex,
humor.
Alex, stop interrupting me.
Sorry.
There actually is stuff to say about it because New Line Cinema was working on a Deadpool movie back in '04, but in '05 they put the movie into turnaround and
Picking up.
yeah, okay. Uh in '04 they developed New Line was making a Deadpool movie, but then they turned it into turnaround next year. Put it in turnaround next year. Fox became interested and they
Bought
in
the rights.
'09 they started in '09 Fox started working on it, and in '11 they got their director, and they finally started filming on it in 2015, in March of 2015, and ended in May. This was after Ryan Reynolds tried to buy the rights to make a Deadpool movie in 2006.
And Reynolds has gone on to say how he's a huge fan of the character and he's a producer on this movie now.
Yeah, and do you think that Green Lantern would have turned out better if Ryan Reynolds had been in complete control?
I'm not sure about complete control because the director for Green Lantern is a good director, but had they been given a better script to work with, I think it would have been good.
If he'd written the script the way Edward Norton wrote the Hulk script.
The Incredible Hulk script wasn't that good, so I don't know. But if Deadpool,
Well, the only
if
reason,
Reynolds,
basically the only reason the Hulk script wound up the way it was, because Hulk was originally going to be about the way that Green Lantern turned out, the Incredible Hulk movie, but I think
also,
I think
the Incredible Hulk movie had a bad director behind it.
well, yeah,
It didn't have
that didn't help. But they barely had a script for that movie, and
Louis Leterrier. He's not that good of a director, honestly.
yeah, but they barely had a script for the Incredible Hulk. But I can't. I just said his name and I can't remember it.
Louis Leterrier.
No, not the guy who played him. The guy who played Banner.
Edward Norton.
Yeah.
You loved Mark Ruffalo. You tolerated Edward Norton. But admit it, you forgot about Eric Bana until I said his name just now.
Yeah, but do you think that Eric Bana would have been a good Hulk if he had a better movie?
If he had better script and better material to work with, yeah. Because Bana is a good actor.
But yeah, Edward Norton basically rewrote
have you
the
seen him in
whole.
Black Hawk Down? He was really good in Black Hawk Down. And he sounded convincingly American.
But I was just going to say that Edward Norton had a very small window of time to rewrite the Incredible Hulk script into something that was actually shootable. So if he had had more time to write the script, it probably would have turned out with less. Because the whole the whole leader subplot has never gone anywhere, and I think that was Marvel's fault.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Blake Nelson has just. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Blake Nelson has forgotten he was even supposed to be the leader because he was in the Fantastic movie. Marvel's basically screwed him over twice now. Both the Marvel division and the Fox division have screwed him over. Can this guy catch a break? Tim Blake Nelson's a good actor. Shouldn't Marvel let him play the leader?
So yeah, do you think they're ever going to do anything else with Hulk? Because Hulk doesn't appear to be being used at all lately.
Well, he's apparently supposed to have a solo arc in the third Thor movie, so...
As opposed to just giving him his own second solo movie against the freaking leader.
Well, the thing is, it's complicated. Marvel can shoot that movie. They can create that movie, but the distribution rights still belong to Universal. So, and
And why
Universal
doesn't
has been
Disney just
notorious.
buy those rights?
Universal's been notoriously hostile to anything more of letting go of the Hulk.
Why doesn't Disney just buy them then?
They've offered to. Universal apparently has been hostile.
No,
towards
not
it.
the rights. Universal. I mean,
I
if
don't
they
know.
bought Universal, they'd get the Fast and Furious franchise. They'd get all kinds of stuff if they bought Universal.
I'm not sure if Disney has that much more money after buying Lucasfilm. I think they need to build up their bank account for a bit first.
They've made at least $10 billion on merch sales alone for Episode 7. They've made over $2 billion on Episode 7. I think they're probably making quite a bit more money than Universal is. They could at least start a hostile takeover.
I'm not sure that'd go well, considering how Universal still has quite a bunch of cash under its belt.
Oh yeah.
And that's it, really. That's all we got for this podcast.
Yep. So, as for
Half of it was not related to Deadpool at all, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. But aside from that, we're done.
Oh yeah, also some news. Force Awakens has cracked 2 billion.
Woo! Now let's see, try to beat Avatar.
I don't think it can beat Avatar. I think it could beat Titanic though.
At least beat that one. Like I hate those bad historical movies, like fake romance amidst a real life tragedy. I especially hate those.
I mean,
And Pearl Harbor.
you want to say something
Pearl
else?
Harbor. Was just a backdrop to a bad romance story with Ben Affleck.
If you want to just take one more tangent before we go, bad, historically inaccurate movies are something that I really don't like.
Same here, like The Imitation Game, for instance.
Yeah, The Imitation Game, Steve Jobs, Selma.
Selma wasn't that bad, honestly.
Well, Selma wasn't bad. It was just that
the only gripe was with Lyndon Baines Johnson, and this is coming from someone who loathes Lyndon Baines Johnson. And also Oprah had too much screen time.
Oprah had very little screen time. She
kept popping in and she kept popping in and out, and every time I saw her on the screen, what are you doing here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're just to, I wrote my review of Selma, and that was like, I really don't like historically inaccurate stuff, so historically inaccurate things. It was a good movie, but
it's a really good movie, both for. And there is more accuracy to it than some people give it credit for, but at the same time, people don't acknowledge how inaccurate it is at times. It's just not one of those historical films that I want to watch again and again, though.
Yeah, I guess this is some foreshadow. Like I said in my review, it's a decent movie. I mean, it does pick up and drop plot points, unfortunately. Like, for absolutely no reason. It's like, Malcolm X comes in and then he's gone and is never mentioned again.
Except for one passing moment that you would easily miss when he mentions the church, how he was assassinated.
Yeah.
Malcolm X is literally there just to acknowledge his existence. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, it's a good movie. It's just not, it doesn't handle the subject matter as well as it should have. And that's, I guess we'll talk about this. I guess this is going to be foreshadowing for an upcoming historically inaccurate biopic podcast. Because next week is going to be Because I'm just thinking, because this is going to go up on Thursday, and this is going to be, okay, so the next, oh shit, okay, we screwed up, we severely screwed up on timing for this, because we should have recorded this next weekend.
I don't know,
but the thing is, we didn't have anything else going on this weekend. I pitched a Super Bowl podcast and nobody wanted it.
Yeah, like I just got nothing to say. I think the Deadpool movie might be good. It might be an entertaining action comedy, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Deadpool. I'd like to see the Deadpool movie turn out well. I'd like to have it show Marvel what they're doing wrong, because I'm not talking about the movies, I'm talking about the comics. I'd love for them to show Marvel. I'd love for Deadpool to show Marvel exactly what they're doing wrong with the comics, and to
Okay,
the movies to a certain extent. Because
yeah, let's just end this now. Let's just end this.
yeah, we've been tangenting for almost 2 hours now,
We've
and
been grasping at straws because there's literally nothing to talk about. So
okay, I say almost 2 hours, but that includes the like 10 minutes of
okay, I really gotta
static
go.
we
I
had
really
at the
gotta
beginning.
go now.
So yeah,
I really gotta go now. All
okay.
right, bye.